Good day, everyone. My name is Pacha Masengo Mamba. I'm very sorry. I'm trying to figure out my laptop here. I'm very sorry. It hasn't been very. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Good day, everyone. My name is Pacha Masengo Mamba, and I am the president of DRC WWLC. And I'm also the president of African Agriculture. So before we start, I would like to first invite President Bernice to open the session with prayer. President Bernice, can you please open the prayer for us? Thank you.
Thank you very much, President Pacha. Can we close our eyes and bow our heads? Dear Father, Lord, we thank you for giving us such a platform with great minds who play a big role in the development of the modern agricultural sector. Oh, Father God, thank you for giving us our daily bread every day and every year. We are thankful for your providence, and we pray that you will continue to provide us more harvest in the coming years. We thank you, Baba, Father, for those who take part, in the global trade in foodstuffs, leakages, and connections from this platform. We give you thanks for all who are going to present today's meeting, as they will speak and they will sort to remind us our complicity about poverty and show us the steps we can take to act justly. We pray, Father, for the farmers and the agricultural fields of this world. We thank you for blessing us with the ability to innovate modern agricultural technology. Bless this moment of peacemaking through justice. In the precious name of Jesus, amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you very much, President Bernice. Thank you very much. I would like to call President Debbie Dineo-Raputi to come in with a word of encouragement and also to welcome our presenters and also to welcome the speakers and also to welcome all the people that have joined us for the meeting. President Debbie, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you very much, President Pacha. And thank you as the president of DRC and the president for agriculture and food security. We should not forget that it's about food security, you know, and thank you very much for really leading such an important structure, the hub in the World Women Leading Change. I remember our founder, President Ayla. You know, when we were talking, you know, President Ayla, she will come with something that you didn't even think of. She said that, you know, she was talking to the big country in the world. And he said that, you know what, people, you've got lots of oil, but will you eat that oil? You need us, you need food. So the structure that you are leading, President Pacha, is such a very important structure because we really need to get some nourishment. We need to have some energy. We cannot be in this platform if ever we are not having proper food or proper nourishment. And thank you for everyone who's going to participate here. And thank you very much for some of the presidents who are here. I can see President Bernice from Zambia, Zimbabwe is here, President Chase from Namibia, President Philanoma from Mozambique, President Mbali Twala from South Africa, from the Youth Leading Change, and our infrastructure, President Rebecca Murudi. Because those food that you have produced, everything that you have produced, it needs infrastructure. And in that infrastructure, we need where you are going to keep those food that you have produced. That will be the real estate. The real estate is also come to be. You can see how we are complementing each other. No one must work as an island, but we are here to really to complement one another. Thank you so much. Even President, I can see the prayer leading change, our leader president, our ambassador, Bitumelo Mputle, she is also part of us. Our ambassador, Alice Kamungwe from Kenya. And I can see even from Swaziland, our Rechi, Dlamini from the royal families also. Thank you so much for being with us this afternoon. Food is the way to lead. I thank you.
Thank you very much, President Debbie. Thank you for the encouragement and the introduction that you have given us. It is very true that food is the way to live indeed. And in this time that we are going through right now, the pandemic, we need to think post-COVID. How are we going to carry it through? Because we can see already that it's getting very, very difficult. And we can see that to feed has become very difficult because of the economic problem that we are going through right now. So also you have underlined the problem of how agriculture, infrastructure, technology, how it's linked together. Indeed, it's linked together because if we look at the chain of agriculture, we can see that the best way for us to feed the suburbs, for us to feed the cities, agriculture has to start in the villages. It is in the villages where we have to start producing. And how are we going to get the food from the villages through the cities? We need the roads. We need infrastructure. We need real estate. Where are we going to store those foods? We need technology. We need the light. So I really appreciate President Debbie, your introduction and the way you have put it. And it is really true that agriculture needs all these sectors for us to move on. Having said so, before we continue, I would like to first acknowledge Ambassador Selma Nashea. I hope I pronounce your surname correctly, Ambassador Selma Nashea. Ambassador Selma Nashea has been appointed as our new African Agriculture Coordinator. And I've been working with her, and she is wonderful, and I appreciate her. Thank you very much, Ambassador Selma. And she's a great woman, and she's in agribusiness. I would like to leave it to her without forgetting to acknowledge our founder, Dr. Ayla. For this platform, we say thank you once more. I also acknowledge you, President Debbie Dineo, for being our president here in Africa. Thank you very much. I also acknowledge again all the president present here. I say thank you to all the speakers for agreeing to come and share your knowledge with us. We are here to listen and to learn. Thank you very much. Thank you to all the people who came to participate, to learn with us together. Over to you, Selma. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, President Pacha. Thank you. I appreciate you. And I also appreciate the entire World Women Leading Change leadership. It's really amazing, you know, how the organization is not just empowering the women within the organization, but also from outside. So yes, indeed. Thank you again also, Her Royal Highness, President Debbie. What you said is absolutely instrumental And I mean, as we read in many, you know, newspapers and online, we hear that, you know, Africa, you know, has the potential to be the world's food basket, yet, you know, we are still falling behind even with our own people. And according to a recent FAO report, I think I read it somewhere saying that still 82% of our food is still imported from outside of the continent, and 35%, just over 35% of the processed foods that we consume in Africa are produced in Africa, meaning the difference comes from outside. So there is indeed a great gap and a great opportunity for us to upscale our agricultural industry, as well as the entire agribusiness chain. And with this, I really welcome our speakers today. Thank you so much for availing yourselves and for willing to share your knowledge and your experiences with us. So without further ado, I think it would actually be great if we can perhaps start with Mrs. Ruth. Miss Rechi Dlamini, who is an agribusiness and agro-processing specialist and business coach. Miss Rechi, you're welcome. The floor is yours.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for this platform. As indicated, my name is Rechi Dlamini. I'm based Eswatini. You will notice I say Eswatini, I don't say in Eswatini, because in the Siswati language, E stands for in. So I am based Eswatini, and my experience has been across 2 countries. I first worked in what was called Swaziland at the time, moved to South Africa, and then now I'm back in Eswatini. I don't know if it's possible to project my presentation. Alleviating Poverty Through Agriculture. I will commence with the contents page, where it just indicates the aspects that I will cover. So I'll look at poverty defined, basic harvesting and drying, basic production preservation, basic processing opportunities for growth, and then I will conclude. Now, in defining poverty, the next slide, please. Poverty is multidimensional, and it manifests itself in different ways. It can be economic, political, environmental, health, seasonal, material, or all of the aspects combined. When I was looking through journal articles where they define poverty, I realized that each person can go through a particular moment of poverty. For example, you may have 4 or 5 cars parked in your yard, but if there's no road for you to exit your yard and go to town, you are now in essentially a momentary poverty situation. It's beyond your control, and you can't build a road. You don't have the resources to do so. So it comes in ebbs and waves. So it's seasonal, for example. When it's a rainy season, most people will have plenty to eat. But once it's dry season, then there'll be other issues as well, including a lack of water. 15 of the 17 Sustainability Development Goals linked to poverty. Moving on to the next slide, I talk about basic harvesting and drying, and anyone would not understand why I talk about harvesting before production. The reason is that you can harvest wild plants. You can harvest weeds that are edible weeds, okay? So that's why I put harvesting on the first part of the presentation, so that even those who don't have land to plant their own crops can go and harvest weeds that are edible in the wild, harvest fruit in the wild, and come back and process. So it's not so much that because I don't have land, I can't plant, then I'm doomed. No, you can actually exit poverty using what is available to you. And what it can do, the drying of fruit, for example, when certain fruits are out of season and you've dried them, when they're no longer available in the shops, out there in the wild, you now have them in your home. You can use them as the days go by. And dried fruit and vegetables can be kept dry and can, if you have dried enough for until the next season, you'd have enough until the next season. And if you have a lot more, you can always sell off what is excess and now acquire an income. Then I talk about bartering simply because bartering is a way out of a cash-strapped situation. You don't have cash, but you have goods. Your neighbor doesn't have cash to buy from you, but they have goods that you want, or they have a service that you need. And then you can barter, you can say, please come and do my plumbing for me. And in exchange, I'll pay you in so much quantity of vegetables or so much quantity of dried fruit. So again, there you've alleviated poverty. In going to basic production, you can, in rural areas, have access to manure and use it in production. You can, if you're in an urban area where space is restricted, you can engage in container gardening. As you can see, the lady in the picture, this picture was taken from a group called the Permaculture Group, where I am a member. And so this lady is growing vegetables, and if you can see in the picture below, she's growing enough to sell, but look at how small the space is and how basic the containers are that she's using. So in most instances, what would happen is you are using containers that may have been abandoned at a dump site because they're broken, they're cracked, but you can grow in them. So you can also, if you are in a warmer area, you can grow moringa. There is currently a moringa program that is being promoted on the Permaculture Group, which aims for commercialization of moringa across the continent. That presents an opportunity. That obviously applies to people in warmer areas. In the cooler areas like where I am, moringa cannot thrive, so you'd have to look at other crops. Composting the kitchen, the waste out of your kitchen, is actually a good idea, so that you then create compost. You don't have to go trying to buy it or trying to get from your neighbors who have cattle and so forth. It makes you a lot more self-sufficient if you generate as much as you can. In the picture below, you can also see some containers where this person is harvesting water. Where I am, it's currently rainy season. It's something you need to look at. It will reduce your being sensitive to weather, so that if there's a full week or 10 days of no rain, you can then use the water you harvested to keep your crops alive. And then as well, your grandmother would have had ways in which she preserves seed. That indigenous knowledge is now very important, because in some instances you can't get to the shop because of lockdown. So now you need to become more savvy in preserving seed. And if you have too much seed of a particular kind, you can then share barter with others and keep going. Going to the slide of basic processing.
I'm very sorry. Can we please have everyone muted?
But they only participated 12 years. Of the participated 12 years, they are in SAW. 12
Unshoot.
President Rebecca, can you please mute yourself?
Sorry.
You may continue, please.
In Eswatini, we have fermented porridge, which can be produced in the home. Fermented porridge can actually be monetized in that it can be sold at construction sites. It's actually one of the best foods to consume if you are engaged in a lot of work. So normally ladies will produce it and they'll sell it at construction sites, or they'll sell it at a market, and it's very low cost to produce, but it has good returns, and people do use it quite a lot. So it's something that people can generate income from. Moringa products, as I indicated earlier, are growing in demand, and there is a commercial value that will be coming, especially in the coming few years, where we'll see an exponential growth in export of Moringa products. The drying of vegetables, fruit, and meat needs to be considered, but it's important when you are doing your processing to ensure that you adhere to hygiene guidelines. Hygiene guidelines means that when you decide you're doing your processing on that morning, clean the place where you are going to work, clean everything you're going to work, and even sterilize. So you make sure that there is nothing that's going to disrupt you. You're not going to be having other items or somebody coming through and cleaning with detergents and things like that, because even the fumes of detergents can go into the food. So you don't want that to happen. So make sure if you intend cleaning that kitchen or wherever you are doing your processing, clean at least an hour before so that all the fumes disappear. You then sterilize all that you're going to work with and make sure you maintain all the 20 seconds of hand washing that have now become encouraged under COVID. They are also applicable to the processing process. When you're packaging your products that you've processed, you need to be careful in selecting the packaging. If, say, for instance, you're making anything that has vinegar, it has to go into a glass container, because if you put it in plastic, on a warm day, the vinegar will start to react with the plastic, and that can now cause your clients to have a negative reaction to the food that you're making, or your family members, as it were. So also, as I indicated, you must sterilize the containers prior to packaging and store in a place where they're not subjected to fluctuations in heat and they're not subjected to sunlight, because some of the foods can start to change color if they're subjected to sunlight. So you want to protect in a clean, dry, and dark place where possible. If you cannot find a dark place in your home, let's say you're living in a home that has limited space, just a cardboard box. You get a cardboard box, you put your containers, if it's glass bottles, you put your containers in there, you close it. Already it has become dark. So you don't have to spend a lot of money as you commence with your processing business. If you then want to start supplying the higher end clients, your supermarkets, your hotels, then please make sure that your product goes to a laboratory, it is tested, the results come back, and the results allow you to continue supplying. In some instances, they don't allow, so please don't violate the results, because any negative feedback could result in the closing of your business. Soap making. Soap making, it may sound like an industrial process, but it's not. It's actually part of agriculture, because you use normally animal fat to make soap and sodium peroxide, hydroxide, sorry. So you can use plants now that have a nice scent to add to your soap. so that it has a particular scent. You can also use moringa in the soap making process to have a moringa soap, or you can put aloe to make an aloe soap. So whatever soap you are able to get the knowledge of soap making, maybe it's been handed down in the generations, perfect your skill and start now to make the soap in a consistent manner. Excuse me. The reason why I say consistent manner, the soap, the texture and the quality of your product mustn't change. You mustn't have a situation where they bought today, the soap is green, and they come in 2 weeks' time and it's light green. In 4 weeks' time, it's dark green. No, whatever color you achieve in a particular day, make sure that on that day, you've measured the quantities properly, you maintain, you measure, so that you always get the same outcome each time. And don't change the premises where you operate, because changes in temperature will also affect your product. If you normally work on a warm day to produce a product, if the day is cold and it's too cold, don't make product, because it will then change. It will have a different outcome than when it was a warm day. So try to find a balance. When it's a warm day, rather make more products so that if cold days are coming, you're not then forced to make during those days. Now, opportunity for growth. Indigenous foods present an opportunity. We are having a growing interest in the foods we eat on the African continent, because people in the West are starting to realize that the foods we eat have an impact on their health, and they're as organic as possible, especially if they grow in the wild. So you need to refine your process of making a product of the vegetables that you cook in the home. Refine it. Why I say refine it, I'm saying, just like in the soap making, when you cook the vegetables, let it always taste the same if it's a particular vegetable. So that if somebody then comes to your house and say, oh, but I like this, can you make for me, I have a wedding next week, please can you make me a large pot? They mustn't then get a different taste now when you delivered to their wedding a pot full of the vegetable or the stew, whatever it is you've prepared, because now there's a particular taste the person is expecting. So you need to keep consistent in that. So, and the slide there under opportunity of growth talks about consistency and quality are an important ingredient to keeping customers. So if a client says, I'm wanting 10 kilograms of offals ready to eat at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning, you must arrive at 8:45 or 8:30 with the product ready. Rather have the client wait for you, not the client. Rather you wait for the client, not the client waiting for you. Now they're standing at the gate, they're looking out the window, they're wondering whether you'll even come. No, let you be at their gate at 8:30. I've come to deliver for a 9 o'clock delivery. That makes for so much easier relationship. Then the person knows that anytime I want something and I want to be sure that it will arrive, this is my supplier. Again, measuring during preparation ensures consistency of quality. Dried indigenous vegetables and fruits you can utilize in the home. You can also barter with them, or if you're close to a commercial area or an urban area, where even in the rural areas, there are times when it's possible to sell and sell consistently. Do that, do the selling consistently. Moringa products are an opportunity to alleviate poverty, both in consuming to stay healthy, as well as in selling off. As indicated earlier, soap making is an opportunity that needs to be explored and maximized. Product testing is essential if you want to supply retail chains. Now, in conclusion, basic opportunity exists. It's about how we harness the opportunity ourselves. We need to maximize opportunity. Just as an aside, I had guests yesterday, and all I did was remove vegetable and indigenous edible weed that was cooked some weeks ago, and it was placed in the freezer. All I did was defrost and warm, and my guests enjoyed. I had somebody prepare for me prior. She's very good in what she does. So look at that. It reduced the strain on me. I had more time to spend with the guests rather than standing at the stove. So different types of processing have that benefit. So I'm done with the presentation. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I will take questions once there's opportunity to answer questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Rechi, for that wonderful, insightful presentation on cost-effective strategies to really start in agribusiness, even when you don't have anything. I think it would be great for us to probably organize a workshop, you know, for those who are interested to venture in some of these strategies or in these business ventures, to probably, you know, get some more information and help from you. So next up, we will call up actually Mr. Farai Matula, so that he can give us insights on what he does. He is a co-founder and manager of Agrismart Agriculture in Zambia. Mr. Farai, before you start, sorry, I just want to remind everyone, at least the guest speakers, that you have 10 minutes to present, so that we have enough time to engage in conversation at the end of each presentation, we'll have the questions and answers session. Thank you. Mr. Farai. You are on mute, so in case you're speaking, we cannot hear you. So you have to unmute yourself. Okay, now thank you.
Hi, everyone. First of all, Selma, thank you very much for this opportunity. I would like to remind you that my name is Farai Maluta and not Matula, as you said it. Okay, so a brief background on who Farai is. I am from Zambia, as Selma had mentioned. So by training, I am a crop scientist. I did crop science, and then also coupled with a bit of development studies and economics from the University of Zambia. Yeah. And together with my colleague, we started a firm called Agrismart Zambia, which is involved in a number of things. So I'd like to explain what Agrismart is all about, as Selma had already mentioned. So Agrismart Zambia mainly is a platform which we came up with in order to provide a market for many of our small-scale farmers around who have challenges to sell their crop. So it has got a network of outgrower farmers within Lusaka mainly. For now, we're just dealing with farmers within Lusaka. We get contracts with supermarkets, trying to take advantage of the ban which has been imposed on supermarkets from importing into the country fresh fruits and vegetables, especially the South African supermarkets, which were mainly the ones who are importing more of these things into the country. Selma, remind me when it's about 8 minutes so that I don't go beyond. Okay. So what we do mainly is that once we identify you as an one of our agro dealers, we recruit you. And then we provide a bit of some training. We train you because our model is to encourage business, farming as a business and not as a hobby, as it has been a practice for many of the small scale farmers. You find that they may be farming, but for them to graduate from this level to the next level, it takes years or never happens at all. So now for us to see how best we can work with these small scale farmers and help them improve from one level to the next one, it's amongst the core values which we have as Agrismart Zambia. So the training we offer our growers is more holistic, intense and short. Mainly is practical based. It includes everything from land preparation down to post-harvest management of the fruits and vegetables, because mainly we are into fruit and vegetables, zero livestock farming. So we get our farmers to be trained on all these things, how best they can manage their crop from land prep until all the way to the market. One of the things which are key when you're dealing with these supermarkets is quality. So we also come in with a component of quality control. So there are a number of firms the supermarkets have contracted. Here we have Rossbrooms, which is actually near my residing place. So we train our farmers on how best to improve their quality, even before they're taking their crops to these guys who do quality control for the supermarkets. They know that their crop is on point, so that they reduce the amount of losses as a result of poor quality of the crop. And in our training, we also encourage our farmers before they reach the level of selling to the outside parties, they first of all need to reach a level of household food security. Recently, Zambia had released the grade 12 results, just a by the way thing, the grade 12 results, and most of the parts of the country which performed poorly are those with the stunted growth and poor nutrition. So we also have it as our component to encourage most of our farmers to make sure that they reach good household food security. Also, we provide a component of nutrition in our trainings for these farmers. Then, as Agrismart Zambia, we haven't yet reached a level where we provide finance for these people, but we aid them on the system on how best they can acquire financing for their projects. For example, we have links with Vision Fund Zambia. I am made to believe that Vision Fund in Zambia is spread across the entire region, I should think. I don't know if it is the case, but it's a component of World Vision. So I'm made to believe it in all the parts of Southern Africa. So it's one of our key partners which we work with so that we can help our farmers to access funding, and then as they go on, they pay back their loans to Vision Fund Zambia, because us being the trainers, assistants in marketing and everything, it becomes easier for the farmers we work with to acquire all the loans, the monies that Vision Fund feels they are eligible for. And it's a firm which has got quite flexible payment terms, and the lending rates are quite manageable for most of the farmers around. And one of the things we are trying to bring into the fold is aquaculture. So by training, I'm not an aquaculturist, and my colleague doesn't know much about aquaculture as well. So we're trying to find partners who we can work with in terms of aquaculture, who can also bring in the training on fish farming, rather than just limiting ourselves to vegetables and fruits. Aquaculture is one of the fun business ideas which are quite lucrative, because most of the fish in supermarkets is actually still being imported. We are having fish coming from as far as China, which should not be the case, where we should be importing fish from China when we can also produce our own. Actually, more tastier than fish coming from abroad. How many minutes, Selma?
Exactly 2 minutes.
I don't want to go beyond. Okay.
So perhaps you
then,
can just conclude your presentation, and then people will also ask questions.
all right. Okay. And then as Farai, as myself, I would also like to apologize to the forum here that I was unable to prepare my slides. We are having a power challenge here. We had a heavy downpour. So I had the slides, but then my PC couldn't go on because of the power outage. Before I conclude, I would also like to thank you, Selma, once again for giving me this opportunity to speak to the people here. And Selma is one person I think I met through a certain challenge which we took part in together, FSI challenge, and having similar interests, we had an opportunity to talk. Then she told me about this platform and invited me if I could be interested in speaking on this platform, which I think is a great idea, and here I am. So thank you very much, once more, Selma. Continue the work you're doing. I think it's very much encouraging, looking at the number you are reaching, the people who you are touching. I really do think it's something that will yield good results for the betterment of humanity. Okay, I think I will be able to take questions when an opportunity arises.
Thank you so much, Farai. I am really sorry. Please do forgive me for mispronouncing your surname. Perhaps it was the nerves, I'm not so sure, but forgive me, I will not repeat it again. However, thank you so much once more for your wonderful presentation. And I think it was actually a good thing to have an example, of what is happening on the ground, especially with, what you're doing in Zambia with your own initiative. It's not like you are just working for them. It is you that has started this. And, one of the core objectives of this organization is really to empower women and the youth to venture into entrepreneurship, to become leading business women and businessmen, to make a difference in their societies as well as on a global scale. So thank you once again. I think what you're doing is great, building the capacity of those who might not necessarily have the opportunities by themselves to upscale their business in agriculture. And we can definitely learn from you, because we don't have much of that going on here in Namibia. So who knows, perhaps, in the very near future, we will collaborate. So thank you. So now next we can call up Mrs. Ruth Mopoto. Please kindly ignore the sound in the background. If you can hear it, somebody wants to give me a hug. But I think, once more, this is one of those challenges, as a woman, and you get to multitask, you get to do so many things. But yeah, please, Miss Ruth, let me not take up more of your time. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Selma. I love the two things. Mommy opened the door, and secondly, Mupoto. In my language, it means in the pot. But my surname is actually Mutopo, not Mupoto, because if you say Mupoto, it's like you're putting me in the pot. So yeah. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity to present on this topic, poverty alleviation through agriculture. I'd like to salute all protocol observed, all presidents, ambassadors here present who are supporting us. And I'd like to say welcome. I'm not sure if everybody can hear me, but I want to believe so. Thank you to my co-speakers, Rechi and Farai. Job well done there. So maybe if we move on to our slides, let's move on to our slide there. Sorry about that interruption. Okay, there we go. The contents page, can I have the contents page, please? Hello, can you hear me? Yes, if you can put up the slides. There we go. Yes, so our presentation today is going to be on how best we can maneuver from poverty to a better society. So basically, I'm going to be presenting on what is poverty, what is agriculture, relationship between agriculture and poverty, relationship between agriculture and income on a national and on an individual level. I'll give one example of a success story, a case study of China, and then I'll give a post-COVID analysis, agriculture in the new normal. I mean, this is a big elephant in the room. We cannot, you know, proceed without talking about it. This is the reality we are in. And then finally, I'm going to give practical solutions, suggestions on third world countries and how they can overcome it. I speak like this because I'm talking from a diplomatic background. I speak on behalf of the whole of Africa because this is not an individual issue. It's not an individual problem. It's not a country problem. Poverty has been on the face of Africa forever. So defining poverty, what is poverty? According to the World Bank, poverty is defined as extreme, it's defined as being extreme poor, those living less than $1.90 a day. It used to be $1 per day, but now it's $1.90. But the definition that really strikes me, it's relative poverty. This refers to the condition of having fewer resources or less income than others in a given locality. I'm not going to be reading through everything on the slide, but I want you to have an opportunity to go through it so that maybe you can internalize as you go. But for the sake of my time, I will just touch on the important issues. Then with absolute poverty, I mean, this is what we experience on a day-to-day below average lifestyle in Africa. You probably don't have insurance policy for your medicals. You don't have enough clean water. You probably have enough to drink, but it's not clean enough to bath. You know, it's everywhere. It strikes me to know that Africa has got less than 20% clean water on the continent. Very low statistics. And then we're moving over to define agriculture. Agriculture would be, it's the art and science of cultivating the soil, growing crops and raising livestock. Growing crops and raising livestock. Agriculture is not limited to tilling the ground. You could be tilling the ground, fair and fine, but there is more to it. So having understood where I'm coming from with those definitions. I'd like to delve directly or into the relationship between agriculture and poverty. The relationship between poverty and agriculture. So that's the background we've got there. It's a Zimbabwean case where at independence in 1980, our white minority population constituted 3% of the population, and they controlled 5,196 of the country farming land, 44% of Zimbabwe's total land area, within about 7,596 of prime agricultural land under the large-scale communal farming sector, where okay, that's sorry, my eyesight, I don't have my glasses on, so reading is a bit of a challenge. And anyway, and hence inaccessible to the Black majority. So what I'm just trying to bring your attention to is there is a very big need for each and every one of us to have means of production, land. I've been to most rural Africa, I've traveled Africa, I've been to most rural South Africa, I've been to rural Botswana, I've been to rural Zimbabwe. Let me start from home. I've been to basically almost every country in Southern Africa. And what I have realized is hunger has stricken Africa, yet we have so much arable land. Land is there, people are able to farm. We do have our subsistence ways of farming, but we do not take opportunity of this. Hence, we are going to be forever in the cycle of poverty. And the final point in that relationship between agriculture and poverty, government estimating more than half of the households had few or no cattle to use as draft power. That is a very red flag right there. You can't have more than half of households not having livestock. Yet we need the livestock for survival, a balanced meal, and so forth. Next slide, please. That picture right there, relationship between agriculture and national income. Advantages of agriculture, I've put them in point form. When I look at that picture, I mean, 1,000 things come to my head, 1,000 things come to mind. What am I saying? I'm seeing somebody getting a salary. I'm seeing a woman putting a child through school. I am seeing a family being taken care of. Those women are on the production line. That is a farm in Kenya. I took that off giz.de. That's the website I took that picture from.
I'm sorry, Miss Manini, can you please mute yourself? Okay, go ahead, Mr.
We love working from home. We love working from home. So yeah, where was I? I was saying we're looking at the picture. Those people are basically getting an income, which is going towards the national fiscus. You're contributing towards the national coffers. You're not only producing, you're not only giving food security, you're not only increasing food supplies, you're not only reducing food prices, you're not only providing employment opportunities in both rural and urban areas, but the money that is going to be made from this picture is going a long way. Why did I say reducing urban pressures? The moment people come from rural areas into the city, everybody knows about rural urban migration. And that is where the beginning of poverty in the urban areas really starts, because we do not have enough social amenities as African people to take care of that migration process. So you realize that there is so much going on in the cities. there's slum dwelling, crime, high levels of unemployment, and all of those things, drug abuse, because there's so much social pressure in the urban areas. But if people stay put in maybe in the rural or in the communal areas and make use and get an income, I would think it's a plus. That would be the new norm anyway. Can we go to the next slide? Okay, I just liked that that offside. That's an offside. Mr. Kolamasha, an entrepreneur, said, low-income economies of scale resulting from many different factors, such as poor access to finance, land issues, lack of extension services, and more, remain the reason Nigeria's smallholder farmers experience low levels of productivity, as low as 20% yield, which continues to threaten the country's food security. For a country like Nigeria with lots of people, with millions of people, 20% in yield of crop or livestock is an extremely low percentage. How is the nation going to feed or cover the gap, 80% gap on food? Like my core host said, it means we are going to be importing this, right? Selma, you made a highlight on this. How are you going to fill in the gap? 80%, it means somebody's going to have to import some food. And why would Africa import food to feed its people when you've got arable land, you have great soils? So that's food for thought. And the relationship between subsistence agriculture and personal income. That picture depicts African rural food producers. Next slide, please. Yes, African rural food producers. I've read this list before. It's not an exhaustive list, I must say, but it really highlights on how subsistence agriculture has a direct impact on personal income. Imagine the man in that field after harvesting. I don't know how big the land is. Let's assume they make, let's say, how many? Let's say they make 34 tons of crop in that season. The result is they're not going to consume 34 tons of maize, but the rest is going to go towards their personal income, extra income towards healthcare, shelter, savings, education, and basically raise the standards of living. Who knows, they're going to purchase solar power because that's a rural setting. And most likely there is no electricity close by. But if you sell extra proceeds from whatever is going on there, maybe they do have livestock, it's going to increase their income and bring development to the rural areas. So from there, we clearly see there is a relationship between agriculture and personal income. You send your children to school and you're basically fighting poverty as you do that. And I'm going to give a success story, something that really struck me as the years went by. China has got more than 20% of the world's population, yeah? And that's about 1.4 billion people. It's a subcontinent on its own. But what struck me the most is the Chinese only utilize 1/3 of the land, which is less than 33% of the total hectarage of the country of China. The rest of it is rugged, something very different from what we have as Africans. That being said, they have way too many mouths to feed as a country, but they do not have an issue with food. China is food secure. Yet, they have far much less arable land than people in Africa. I have included on that slide post United Nations SDGs 2020. China will become the first country to achieve the UN goal of no poverty, and its achievement in poverty reduction has been recognized by the international community. China has lifted more than 800 million people out of poverty in 40 years, contributing to 70% of global poverty reduction. So I want to believe the other 20% is for Africa, and the other 10% of absolute poverty is from other places in the world. So how they got out of it was mainly because of agriculture. I'm not going to get into the e-commerce of how they did that. And I want to show you in that picture, the next slide shows an example of intent land use. Like I mentioned before, 2/3 of China is rugged. They don't have level ground. The 1/3 is used for both residential to house the 1.4 billion people and agriculture. So if you can see from the picture, they go even as high as the mountains to make sure they farm, they till the land, anything possible to feed their people. Then we move on to the new normal post-COVID-19 farming. That picture there is high. Yes?
Excuse me, I just want to interrupt you slightly just to remind you that you don't have much time left. So just to give everyone a chance to engage, perhaps you can just try to highlight on the key things and conclude on your presentation, please.
Okay, cool. Post-normal. Okay, so basically now looking at, okay, it's 2 slides left. Let me go directly to the last one. Post-COVID, I was going to discuss about salaries and wages, which means that if you engage in a subsistence farming, you could earn yourself extra so that you do not fall in the bracket of those being retrenched, and then you don't go without income. Practical solutions, suggestions for third world countries. I've just made a list right there of how we can get ourselves out of the poverty rut through agriculture. So the main one being a feminist point, the gendered issue on land. We would like to encourage, or I'd like to encourage everybody to document or formalize their piece of land, which is basically means of production, so that you have access to things like loans, training, agri-tax officers, etc., reduce dependency syndrome, improve water harvesting techniques, improve seed production, obviously for high yields, and then locals to improve market linkages. It's been spoken about by the first speaker. Price control on produce, and then develop homegrown solutions. Rechi, you also spoke about this. And yeah, I think that's basically it. I'd like to open up for questions when the opportunity comes through, but I think I've just gone through everything. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you so much. I apologize to everyone as we are actually running a bit late. However, I think it's a wonderful time for us to try and close up everything that we've heard. Thank you so much once again to all the speakers. Ms. Ruth Dlamini, thank you for giving us a good intro on how we can all actually begin wherever we are to engage into either survival or entrepreneurial mode of using agriculture as a means to have a better livelihood. Mr. Farai Maluta, Thank you so much once more for your example and also case studies on how you are basically applying the concept of or principle of collaboration to meet local market demands, and also in what you do empower local subsistence farmers as you give them the training that you do. You also pointed out, as Mrs. Matopo outlined, the link between agriculture and other sectors, and for you specifically, you highlighted how it was seen to be directly connected to child development, which is very vital, especially when we are thinking and talking about the future. As you know, this has a direct impact on our national income growth expectations, as highlighted also by Ms. Mutopo. So if the child today is malnourished and is unable to perform and to be productive, what can we expect for the future? And of course, I think Ms. Mutopo, you actually concluded this talk nicely by highlighting the significance of the agriculture, agribusiness sector, the opportunities that exist, as well as giving us some case studies that we can actually learn from in terms of what we have done right or wrong from the Zimbabwean case, as well as learning from cases like China, to improve our current situations, as well as giving us some practical solutions on what we can do now to venture into this sector. So without further ado, I would like to open the floor up for questions. So if you would like to ask a question, I encourage you to perhaps put up your hand. Otherwise, if you are failing to put up your hand, just switch on your mic and you can speak. But I would say perhaps let's take about 3 to 5 questions in one, like at once, and perhaps we can have like two cycles of questions. So I am watching out for any hands in case there's somebody who wants to ask a question. And so far, I don't see any hands. Otherwise, like I said, if you're unable to put your hand up for any reason, you are welcome to just unmute yourself and start talking and address the question to the respective speaker.
Okay, I've got a question. My question goes to Farai. I wanted to know, you spoke about facilitation of loans as your organization facilitates loans. I wanted to find out if Zambia as a country has availed agricultural loans specifically to organizations or to individuals or to companies like yours, or they go directly to the bank. How exactly have you managed to come up with models, or what kind of models, if I can put it that way, have you set up to give help to farmers and upcoming farmers?
For us, as Agrismart Zambia, we do not really have the capacity at the moment to offer financial assistance in terms of loans or anything in that line. But instead, we only assist the farmers who are looking for financing to access the finance through Vision Fund, because Vision Fund is a firm which is under World Vision, which gives loans to small scale and upcoming farmers, provided after assessing them, they see that they have the capacity and the potential to pay back the principal plus the interest they got from these firms. But as a nation in general, the country has facilities like CEEC, which is called Citizen Empowerment and Entrepreneurship, something like that, where people can go to and apply for loans. However, the selection is not as easy as it is on the books. So most farmers have it quite difficult to access loans and all these financing facilities from the government initiatives. And then the banks usually, looking at the interest which the banks give, it becomes quite cumbersome and hard for the farmers now to uplift themselves from the level they are at, because mostly the banks fear the challenges of the people who they are going to lend the money to defaulting. So they are quite hard on that part for them to easily give out the money as loans to assist the upcoming farmers and all those who have challenges with the financing part. So for us, we just assist them to build their business case and everything. Then as the between the farmer and Vision Fund Zambia, then we just aid the process, not necessarily us giving out the funds.
Thank you, Mr. Farai.
Very much.
Okay, I see a hand from Lebo M. Please go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, dumelang batho kaofela, greetings to everybody, protocol observed. I don't know if it's a comment or a question, but I wanted to suggest to Mr. Farai that he should talk to women, world women leading change, about being another source of funding, in that we are into business, we are into empowering women. And then the next thing is for Ms. Mutupo. The issue of Mutopo. Mutopo. All right. The issue of agriculture and business, I just learned recently from a TED talk of Emma Maluyima. Miss Emma is from Uganda, and she has managed to come up with a solution of acreage, in that in Uganda, a lot of people have to inherit land from their ancestors. Like if my parents died, I have to share their land with my siblings. And if I died, my children and my their cousins have to share the very land. So she is raising pigs, cows, fish, and doing agriculture, as well as educating young people. She has a school where she teaches the same things to people. And one of the children, a 10-year-old, went back home and taught his parents, and now they have a lot of food and they are selling extra. But what she did was using the same space that somebody could just raise a meal on. She has managed to do all these things because they are related. Like the maggots from the pigs goes into the soil, and the soil becomes fertile, and the water from the fish goes to the plants, and the plants take the carbon dioxide something and hydrogen and all that sulfur things, and the oxygen goes back into the water, and the water is fresh for the people. I mean, it's an interesting thing. I just have to study it again, but I'm thinking we need to be taking what works and implementing it across the board. If she's in Africa and this is a success story for Africa, it's more receptive to other people than if we talk about China, because it's like, oh, the Chinese this, the Chinese that. So to be able to reach out to our young people, we need to use what is in our continent done by us, so that there's a vote of confidence in the system we're introducing. We have that, it works, it's successful, it's already multiplying, and it's receptive. I don't know. So I'm thinking we need to use our platform as a network and to make everything into a franchise of sort. Like if it works in Uganda, let's bring it to Johannesburg, let's bring it to Maseru, let's bring it to Lusaka, let's bring it to Harare. Thank you.
Very well.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for that example. Wonderful indeed. I will also do some research on that. I see a hand from Theodore Jacob. Please go ahead and unmute yourself. Theodore
Hello.
Jacob. Hi.
Yes, thank you so much. Mine is rather a comment that I applaud the forum and what it stands for, the information that has been divulged and shared amongst us has been really amazing. And just like the dear lady who spoke just before me mentioned that we should put our efforts together in making sure that the things we talk about here and now are implemented using the various resources that we have as we represent different entities, different companies. We use and combine our resources such that we make sure that what we preach is not just distributed amongst us and social media, but there is a really good implementation that follows through such discussions. And ultimately, it would be just like she mentioned, franchising. It would essentially blow up into something that our own governments, various governments within the region cannot ignore, for lack of a better word. And hence the plans and the things that we want to do for us and our people are actually carried through and implemented. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that comment, Mr. Theodore. That is accepted and noted highly. Indeed, we have another hand, and I would say because of time and yeah, I would probably ask Ms. Delphine to be the last, speaker. However, you are welcome at the end. You will receive our email address. If you have further queries, you would be welcome to obviously send us an email, and we can also channel this through for the future meeting engagements. Ms. Delphine, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Thank you. Just wanted to say something concerning Farai. I think President Lebo has already talked to that issue. I wanted if he could give us some email address, so that we know how to contact him. Farai. And then Motopo, concerning her talk in relation to China being maybe the provider for all. Have you really gone into the details of finding out whether China is actually made to feed its people? Because I think from the papers, we see that China is doing very well. But I think getting to the ground, we have all these issues of labor abuses and the like. So I don't know whether you could also, in your research, try to find out whether they are now clean in terms of abuse in relation to labor. Thank you.
Yes, I have actually. I don't know. Can you hear me? I don't seem
Yes,
to.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Oh, yes. For the China case, we have actually gone on the ground. We have taken a tour in the 10 provinces of China, and a very unfortunate part is Chinese are very discreet people. They don't come out in the open. I'm sure one of my colleagues from Lesotho, who's on the program right now, can agree with me that we asked them a few questions that have to do with abuses. They don't answer that. I don't know whether it's for security reasons or they feel like we'll use it against them, but they are a very close nation. But what I know for certain is they have managed to produce, I think according to their target, 36 kgs of food per square meter, and how they come up with those figures, they really haven't told us, but they made emphasis on e-commerce and developing their channels of markets. I think that's what made them grow faster. And I think if we are going to take anything from them, is just learning unity and working together as a people. Because I know for a fact, as Africa, we still have a long way to go in terms of unity is concerned. And yeah, I'm sure something can be done about that. I mean, everybody here is passionate, but I know, to answer your question, they did not disclose that.
Okay. Thank you so much,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Ruth and Ms. Delphine, for your question. So now with all that has been said, I feel like, you know, there's still so much to be said, and, you know, this dialogue of, you know, what we can learn from who and how, I'm sure we can take, you know, bits and pieces from everywhere, but indeed, I do agree we need to also find good examples, good case studies that are happening locally. So with this, I would like to wrap our conversation and bring it to an end, and just invite Dr. Ayla, our president and founder of World Women Leading Change, to come in and say a word. Dr. Ayla, please.
Thank you, Selma. Thank you, everyone. It's a beautiful talk. I want to say thank you also for the founder of WWLC Africa that today here, Ambassador Alice, and also Princess Debbie. But I want to emphasis, also want to introduce one of my fellow professor from Minnesota. But before that, I want to say something, that poverty, it started in your mind. It doesn't start in agriculture, real estate, everything. It starts in your mind. Because everything that we have today, it wasn't there today. It wasn't there before you born. So I think if you see China is doing well, then we need to see what are they doing well. We need to duplicate. But moreover, to have a very, very rich mindset, because only rich mindset can take you to moon. If you don't have rich mindset, you know, I come to a conference, I see a children, they tell me like this. They always talk bad, you know, negative. If somebody talking in the forum, they say to me, you know. So I told him, I'm not gonna sit with you because you giving me a negative energy, okay? And I said to him, I don't care who you are, because my rich mindset will create money for me. That is the real #1 poverty issues with people. And this is what we combine with technical things, how to bring Africa, how to brand Africa as the world food supplier, because everything is in there. Everything is in Africa, you name it. If people say to me, you know, when I start this conference, they say, why you have so many people came from Africa? Why your organization have 23 countries in Africa? I don't want to be negative telling them, but I said Africa, the world need Africa. But Africa need to have rich mindset to learn from the world, right? Because you cannot imitate a SpaceX to moon if you don't know how the SpaceX working. You cannot imitate every single thing of agricultural if you don't have rich mindset. What is rich mindset? My fellow professor from Minnesota will explain to you. Give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute so she can explain. Professor Batembi, over to you.
Nzedia. Thank you so much, Dr. Ayla. Hello, everybody. I am Nzedia. I am North African. I am from North Africa, from Algeria, and I love to call it the biggest country in Africa. But I live now in Minnesota since 2 years now with my son. Maybe it's a long story. I don't know. Maybe I don't have the time to share it now. It's the first time I join your meeting, and I'm sure it will not be the last time. What I want to see is that Africa is the future. As said Dr. Ayla, the world needs Africa. Maybe if I have one advice is to develop since COVID-19, the world, as many businesses are going digital, so it's so important to go digital, to take profit from the internet, to connect with each other, to learn from each other, to develop your digital leadership, your digital strategy. And I want to hear from you in the next meeting if there is any issue you are facing to develop your digital brand, your digital leadership, your digital visibility, because we need to connect with each other, to grow together. One day I will share my story with you, and you will know that during the last 2 years, all my life changed when my son has been diagnosed with bone cancer. I am university teacher. Since 2 years, I lost my job. I missed my family. I leave my country and bring my son to United States, where I had no income. I had zero income, and I have zero income since 2 years, but I never give up. I have had the surgery done for my son. He was 12 years old in the best hospital in the world, Mayo Clinic Rochester. So we are the best. There are great minds in Africa. Never give up. Believe in yourself. Work together. Collaborate together. Collaboration and partnership are the key for success. No one can succeed alone. I think I don't want to take a lot of time. I promise to share more with you in the next meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Batambi. That is the rich mindset. Nothing,
Indeed.
your chair, do you know that before there is no chair? How does people invent a chair? How do you think they invent a chair? How? They imagine, they think, they say we need to sit, they invent a chair. So this is rich mindset. Whatever you do, have rich mindset. Poverty only can be killed by rich mindset. To start and execution, commitment, and consistency. Execution, commitment, consistency, and branding. Thank you so much. Love and light from Jakarta, Indonesia.
Thank you for those resourceful and insightful words, both President Ayla and Dr. Bentembi. Thank you so much. We definitely accept your offer to support our digitalization development project, which we are still to discuss, I suppose, but thank you so much for that. And I'm so glad that you are, such a strong and resilient woman, and you're doing such a good job at being in a foreign country and still thriving. So thank you. And we will also put in practice our, potential, not really potential, but, we will have to practice, renewing and reforming our minds and our thoughts so that we can also create this habit of wealthy thinking in order for us to do, actions that will give us the wealth we seek. So with that, I call on our sectoral president, President Pacha, to just step in and give us a word of thank you before we get the announcements from, I think, President Lesejo, and then we close with our World Women Leading Change song and prayer. President Pacha.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ambassador Selma, for the wonderful work that you've done. Great moderation. I would like to take this opportunity to thank each and every speaker. We had received wonderful information. Thank you. It started from the small scale, and we see how great agriculture can impact directly the life of human beings. From what we listened from Ruth, and what we listened also from Farai, the training that you are giving to small scale agriculture business is what we actually need in Africa. We need to push, starting with small scale, starting with training. And as Dr. Ella has highlighted, it's the mindset. If we push our mindset and we have the wisdom to implement what we have learned, surely we will alleviate poverty in Africa. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to all the participants. And really, I thank you, our speakers and Dr. Ella, for your good input. Thank you. Thank you.
President Lesejo, are you going to give us any announcements before we close off?
Okay. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. We have programs for next week, Saturday and Sunday. On Saturday, we have Youth Leading Change Europe chapter at 11 a.m. GMT, and Lightning Leading Change at 1 p.m. GMT. And then on Sunday, the 7th of March, we have Creative Arts, or on Sunday at 1 p.m. GMT. So it's Saturday the 6th, we have Youth Leading Change at 11 a.m. GMT, Lightning Leading Change at 1 p.m. GMT, and then on Sunday the 7th, we have Creative Arts at 1 p.m. GMT. Thank you so much. Over to you, Ms. Selma.
Okay, I think with that, we come to an absolute end of our meeting. I thank everybody for coming also. And well, normally at the end, we end with our World Women Leading Change, just for some relaxation and entertainment, and also prayer. It's an all-in-one thing. But unfortunately, President Lesejo is having some technical challenges with her computer. So we will not be able to play the song today, but catch us in the next meeting, and you will get to hear the rhythms of World Women Leading Change. So thank you, everyone. For anyone who is interested in future, discussions, collaborations, engagements, kindly, I don't know if you have seen the invitation. I think we have our email address on there. Please do feel free to send us an email, and yeah, or join in the next meeting again, and then we'll definitely take your queries into consideration. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful Sunday and blessed week ahead. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Love and light. Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, speaker.
Thank you so very much.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye. Good day.
Bye. Although we're not having the anthem.
But we're not having our anthem.
I'm still waiting for it, Manje.
I know, yesterday you were singing. Sorry, next time.
Selma, you are changing everything. No prayer, no songs. Come
No,
on.
I'm sorry. We had organized the song, but we are having technical problems. So
Why you don't sing it?
I think I must learn from you.
Leading change, leading change. We are the woman. Namibia, Botswana. You are not doing us nice.
Women leading change.
Fella. Women leading change.
Leading change.
You see, somebody could have sang it.
Hey, that person sounds like they're the one that sang the song. Is it them? That voice.
No,
Yeah,
not at
all
all.
you had to do was ask.
Oh well. Well, I don't know. People don't seem to want to go. I think next time we should have like a.
Michelle from Brazil joined this organization because of that song.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And now she left. You see, she's not here because you didn't sing.
I disappointed. Oh, I'm going to make it up to her next time.
Oh, I had a question. Can we talk about the financing thing, because it always comes up, like microloans and everything. How do we do that?
Okay.
How do we access money, or how do we give money? Whichever one is relevant.
Okay.
We will put our mind to it. We will put our mind to it and see if we can come up with such a topic. I feel it's very interesting because our problem actually is money. We have money issues in Africa, and we have difficulties to implement whatever we have to implement because of money. We are strained
I thought
financially.
discussions were held in 2020. This year is the year to implement.
I'm sorry.
Yes, we will implement.
Yeah, is this thing not recorded? I think what we should do really is just to close up because it's been recorded. I thank you.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, President Debbie. All right. Bye, everyone. We'll continue the conversation.
Bye.